Yo, 1 2 1 2. This is something I'm gonna try that's a little new. This is what I'm gonna call Bboytech Live. So it's a live review, and we'll just play a little something while we get ready to do what we do. Yo, yo, what up, people? So just give me a minute. I'm gonna let some people get in, get online, check this out. Shazam, what's up, bro? What's up, BK Vango? Let me get this chat popped out so we can do this. Alright. So yeah, this is something that I'm trying new, and Bboytech live review. And since I haven't done anything really official as a real review on the MPCX, I figured I'd just talk about what I like about it and the potential that it has and what people are thinking. Oh, bro, if you've been on iOS for that long, I mean, you doing it. What you using, Beatmaker? Word. All right. Hey, Blue Monster 65. Yeah. So you good with your live? I'm glad to see it, man. I know you had there was some issues earlier on. So yeah, this is the MPCX, and I've had some questions about it, but it's been around long enough now that a lot of people have, I guess, maybe had their questions answered, and maybe they haven't. But I'm gonna tell you a little bit about the stuff that I dig about the MPCX Live. Um, there's some stuff that is a little different. I came from the 5000, well, earlier on the 2000 XL. Then years later with the 5000, I spent a good few years with the 5000, probably more than a few years. And then went to the REN, now to the MPCX. So with the MPCX, the first thing obviously is the size of it. You know what I mean? The size is huge. It's a big footprint to it. I don't know the exact dimensions, and I know a lot of people. Let's see. I do miss the phantom power. Yeah, I feel you. Hold on. Actually, I think this one does have phantom power. No. Yeah, yeah, it does. I don't even know why I'm tripping. Um, yeah. So that is one of the things that the X has. I guess that the Live does not. So on this side here, you kind of have your controls for input and output. This is the master up here. This is the 3 and 4 record gain. This is record gain for 1 and 2. And what I usually do with 1 and 2, if you could see this, I got a couple wires that come in here. Those wires are coming directly from my modular gear. Modular gear is right over there. And so, oh, that's too bad, man. I didn't realize that they didn't have it on the live. But the live is dope for the size. But yeah, so you can run phantom power mics directly into the X. And so yeah, you can either turn one and two on for the rear with those two switches, or you can put it onto the front with these two switches. And what the front has is instrument one and two, along with some pedal inputs and stuff. So I typically use this as the centerpiece of my studio. So like I said, from the back, I have my analog synths or my modular synths coming right in. And yeah, and so those come right in right here. And when I want to hear those, I just flip the switch to rear and turn up the volume a little bit. Go to sample. Obviously, we would change to what it needs to be. Right now, uh, I have the input set so you could have your audio interface either be the MPC or whatever your audio interface is on the computer. So right now, I have it set to my audio interface. I'm gonna change that right quick, just so we can have that to take a look at, because I want to show you how I bring in some of my synths. All right, so, and I have this, I do not have this set up in standalone mode. I have used it in standalone mode. I use it a lot in controller mode just because, hold on, I'll read your questions in a second, but I'm just changing something right here. So I use it in controller mode just because I like a lot of my effects plugins. Now the effects built in on this is dope, but I like my effects on the whatchamacallit here on the computer. So I tend to use those just because they're a little more in depth. So let's check out just a couple of the questions. Somebody says, coming from the REN, can you tell a sound difference between the X? I know that's a huge question. With the REN, I typically didn't use the audio too much on it. I used a lot of my audio interface. I did sample through it. And you know, I know some people are sticklers for this kind of stuff. I think the X and the live sound a lot better than you say the REN did. But I won't say that the REN sounded bad. But that's, you know, it's all personal preference and stuff. But like I'm saying, I got my audio coming directly in from my synths, and it sounds just fine. So I'm gonna turn that off. Let me just show you this track right here. Oh, is this better? Trust, is the volume better out there? Just trying to turn the volume up a little bit so people can hear what I got to say. So with this track right here, I got a couple things going on. I use the SEO2 for the bass. So that's a MIDI track. Go to track 2. There I got my drums. Yo, 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 yo. Yo, let me know if the audio is okay out there. Is this any better? Yo, yo, yo. Okay, cool. All right. Yeah, keep me posted, man. Let me know if the audio gets bad, because I'll try to adjust it. So what we got here is we got my drums. All right, that's track 2. And I'm getting to something here. So then track 3, 4, 5. Then I had some CV stuff coming in on track 5. So for those that don't know, the back of this has 8 CV out. That's the key thing to why I want to use the MPCX. The MPCX is going to give you those 8 CV out that you can run right to your modular or your old vintage synths. And I use it quite often. If you follow my Instagram, you know that my rig is a pretty big modular rig. So that's why I think that this is the best thing for me to be the centerpiece of what I do. So on track 5, I got some CV coming in. Track 6, what I'm doing with track 6 is I basically just have some notes going in that are just keeping time. So it's keeping. I did that a trick. If you look at my video, it's called 5 Things About the MPCX CV Outs. So the CV outs, what I'm doing right here is a trick that I did in that video. Is I got notes in there just like a metronome, and it's firing off out of CV8 to the tempi in my modular rig. And what that's doing is just keeping time, simple keeping time. So everything in my modular rig is synced up to the MPC. So that's what I got there. Track 7, it's some more MIDI. Let's see. Now we get into, I'm gonna solo a couple things right here, because right now we get into things that I've sampled from the inputs, and you can hear for yourself what they might sound like. Can you hear that? So that's one track. I'm gonna go to the next one. Okay, so that's the bass. Like on track 1, I said I had MIDI from the SEO2, the Roland Studio Electronics SEO2. So this is the bass coming from that. And I sampled it directly in. The sound is high quality, as far as I can tell. It sounds good. Anytime I hear any noise or anything in it, it's typically out. Literally every time it's because I may have another signal coming in from like a mixer, or maybe I got something tripping on my modular where there's some buzzing or something. But the signal coming in is pretty clean. It's not colored. It's not gonna be like any kind of tube warmth or anything like that. It's just a clean, high quality signal. And so that's track 10. I'm just gonna keep going through this. All right, so track 11. Those are the chords or the pads that I had coming from the deep mine. Okay, so that's that. Let's go to track 12. And all this is just to demonstrate what the sound is like once I've sampled stuff. And this, one of the things that I tend to do is, I'm messing with mod bap and modular synth stuff all the time. So I got some crap coming in that's always a little odd like this. So we got that. That was sampled directly in from the back to inputs 1 and 2. Let's see, what's this? More of that kind of gobbledygook stuff. Dropped offline. Yeah, bro, the DA converters are pretty good. I mean, no fronting. I wouldn't front about that. I used the converters on this quite a bit. And I can't say that I did that in the past with other things. So I know that's the big thing. You know what I would advise to anybody that really wants to know? Because it's a lot of money. You can't necessarily take everybody's word for this. Now, full disclosure, I am a beta tester for some of this stuff. A lot of people know that, I guess. And that's one thing, but I keep it real about it, man. And this is a lot of money for you to go out and spend. So I definitely don't want anybody saying, yo, the gobbledygook was the first thing you notice, no doubt, man. So, yeah. If you're going to spend your money, I would say you should probably go to Guitar Center. And if I know they don't have them out yet, but at some point they will. And you can get a chance to really see what it sounds like. But then most places have like their 30-day in return thing. So, right, you can just order it and when you get it and see if it. But in my opinion, the joint sounds good. It's really clean. And that's what I want. I got enough stuff around here that I can color the sound with. So, the pads. Let's go to this here. I think the pads are dope. and they've gotten enough usage from me over the past few months. Some of the best pads that are out there. As a matter of fact, I kind of use these pads as the litmus test for other pads and other buttons or drum machines that I have to test or check out and stuff. So these are very comfortable. If you're a finger drummer, you'll be able to do what you need to do. Now, I typically in the past have been the person to put thick pads on my MPCs. With this one, I don't plan to change it. It is what it is. One of the things is because it's so big, and you can see that it's a huge machine, right? So on my Ren, I used to be able to hit shift and save. I can't remember where it was, but it was easily one hand. Now I have a big hand, right? And save button is now over here. So with that being the case, you kind of need to use two hands unless you have a really big hand to hit shift save. So I'll hit shift save and it's saving. You also have an option where you could turn on auto save, but obviously you want to be able to shift save. So shift, and you see it's kind of awkward for my hand to get all the way over there. But I can do it. It's just not as comfortable as it used to be able to, do some shift save stuff. Some of the dope stuff about it is that you get the step sequencer. Okay, so I'm not really a fan of step sequencing. I can do step sequencing, but here I use it for different purposes. The step sequencer is easy enough for you to go. It's on bar 1. Down here you got the buttons where you can go scroll through the bars. So now I'm on bar 4. Back to bar 1, bar 2, bar 3, bar 4. I got the time division set to 16. So what I typically do, and this is just kind of my workflow, I'll get into some of that on another video, but as you can see, hold on, give me a sec. So I got this sample right here. That sample right there is coming from a program. What I do is I basically have all my synths around here. So with my synths going, I'll sample whichever part, like that part. I'll sample it, I'll put it in program 001, and I'll put it on a different pad. So right now on this particular program, I'm probably up to 3 or 4 banks of each pad is a loop of up to anywhere between 4 bars and 8 bar loops. Right? So that's another one. That's another one. Now you can, lay those in the track any way you want. I don't have anything on this track, so this is how I use a step sequencer. I know that I want C7. I want C7 to trigger. I could very well just go ahead and do this. 1. Right? And that'll place it at, the first count of bar 1. What up, Bo Beats? But what the step sequencer is good for is easy to kind of quickly go in here and do this. Step sequencer, I'm at bar 1. I hit the first pad, and now it triggers it. That's all I want. Very simple. That can happen on the live or the X, I believe. So that's kind of one of the things, and let's see what else we got here. One of the things that I really like about this whole setup is the 16 Cuelinks. There's a whole lot of dope stuff about the Cuelinks. So with the Cuelinks, you get a lot of stuff, and I'm sorry if you can't see this closer, but I ain't all advanced where you could have double cameras and you need all kinds of video equipment for that. Sampling from vinyl, man, is I don't know if that's the question or not. But so the Cuelinks here, what I have across here, the Cuelinks is the tempo, the bars, like the sequence length, the sequence loop start point, bar 1, and the end point, bar 4. Current track is 2. I can scroll through the tracks like this. You may be able to see that it's going sequential through the tracks, and that's all controllable through the Cuelinks. You can go through, you can change the sequence length, track velocity, track transpose. So like if I had a couple chords playing on there, then I can go to track transpose and transpose it up and down through the numbers and kind of change the tone of it, the tune. Program level, so you can literally turn the program level up or down. You go on the screen, you can kind of go between that too. This way you can turn the track down. If you click on the program level, you can then start controller level there. You got control over the metronome, program pan, so you can pan. You use these knobs. These are like almost everything you could think that you would be doing on a regular basis to control your sequences is right here on these Cuelinks. What up, Masada? Wish I had an MPCX. Yeah, bruh, I know. So the other thing is at the bottom, you got the time correction, you got your swing timing, and you got your time correction strength. So all these things you got, and you have everything is changeable. So if I go to pad params, now what I got, if I click on pad params, I can change the volume of all these different pads. So that's pad number 10. So I can turn that down using Cuelink 10. Up and down, like that. Right? So that's all the convenience of those different things. I mean, you can set these pad scenes and stuff up any kind of way you want to. But the convenience of it is that, you get screen control. So anything that's on the screen, you can control it. If I was to go to sample edit, now I have the ability to control, if you can see that, I have the ability to control the different things in the sample edit screen. And that's because I'm on screen control mode, right? You can zoom in with that. You can scroll through the sample. So I love the Cuelinks. That's a big thing for me. The Cuelinks, for real. So let's go back here. Yeah. So you have your 8 pad banks and everything. And I think the huge thing for me is that it has a good deal of I/O. I got my turntable plugged into the back of it. The joint is connected to my computer with the USB cable. I got my synths going to the back inputs. I got another synth going to the front input, and I could just flip back and forth through all of this stuff to get whatever I need. It's real convenient. However, it's real big. It has a big footprint. I also want to point out too that the screen is adjustable, and there's a little arm on the back there where you can totally flatten it out. And some people were asking whether or not that was firm enough. I think it is. For what it is, it's pretty firm. If I was going to be banging on that screen, I would probably want it to be a little more firm, but there's no reason for you to be banging. You bang on the pads, right? So, here, all right. Let's go to this drum program right quick. Oh, and another thing that I like, and people with the live probably know this, I want to see the CV work with things. Right. Well, we got a little ways to go for that. All right. The CV will work with my modular rig, the hardware, but if you want to use the CV to control reactor blocks, it's not going to happen. It does not work that way. I wished that there was a way where you could take the CV and, tell it, okay, say if we go to CV, you can actually, can you see this on the screen? Yeah, so I just looked at the screen there. So you can take this and say, okay, I'm on CV and I want to assign it to any number CV port up to 8. You could change that, turn it off and all that stuff. What I wish you could do is, for instance, take this to plug in and you have, let's hide that. You know, what would be dope here is if you were in a plugin and you could say, I want to go and output, like it says here, output 1 and 2. What it should say is what would be dope if it said, you can take this out of your CV, so you can send a CV current out of your plugin like reactor blocks to your Eurorack. So I don't know how many people would use it that way, but that's the way I wish it worked. It does not work that way, and it's some complicated reasoning why it doesn't work that way. However, it does work to have the CV controlling your CV stuff on the output, but you have to have it on the CV program. And CV program basically is going to give you access to a few different things here. So you're going to have the mod wheel that you can set to. You have your velocity port. You have your gate port, your CV port. Your note you can set to last, highest, or lowest. And then you can, keep recreating CV tracks right here. So now somebody was saying, can you adjust the screen? Yeah, you can adjust the screen dimness. Where is it though? Other or something like that. You have to kind of get around and find it. And do I know right off of the scroll down through here? So I just told somebody about this, but I can't find it right now. But there is a section in here where you could turn the screen dimness up and down. So you can do that from there. There's not a knob dedicated to it like the older MPCs, but you do have it on the inside there. So go back to the main joint. And let's see. Another thing is what's dope is you can double tap on the menu and you can get all your programs here that you want to see. You can kind of scroll through them real quick to get what you want. So let's see what kind of questions we're looking at. See. Yeah, not digging the digi in outs. Yeah, word. No doubt, Masada. So don't forget. Remind me, BK Banger, what was I about to say about the live? Because I can't remember. One of the things about the live that I like is the footprint. So that's dope. What you don't get with the live, comparing the two, what you don't get with the live is all 16 Cuelinks. You don't get the little display screens above the Cuelinks. You get 4 Cuelinks and no display screen. I think that was a bit of a miss, but at least you can scroll through. You still have access to 16 Cuelinks with the 4 physical Cuelinks on the live. So that's cool, but I kind of wish it had the scribble pad, and I wish the live had at least 2 CV. The other thing about the live is it's battery powered. Now this joint is too big to be battery powered. I don't really care that it's not that it doesn't have a battery. I didn't know that the live didn't have phantom power. That would be dope to have phantom power. Yeah, exactly. So this does though. So I mean, the whole thing about this is it sounds good. If you're looking for the MPC X to do something like color your sound and all this kind of stuff like classic MPCs did, it don't do that. So don't even expect it to do that. It's not gonna do that. It's just not that kind of party. And at some point, I'm gonna bring my MPC 60. I've said this before, and I haven't gotten a chance, but I'll probably have a chance here real soon while we're doing these Bboytech live things. I'm gonna put the MPC 62 that I have right next to the MPC X and let you hear what the sound difference is. This is clean. The other one is gonna be colored. But with all the stuff that we can do nowadays, there's a million ways that you can color this thing. I don't know what the particulars are. If they made this where it would color the sound like that, it probably would be more expensive than the 20 something, 2200, 2300 or whatever it is. So yeah, I'm gonna do that, man. Let's see. What's everybody saying? Can you use a drumstick? Okay, I got drumsticks. You mean like that? So I don't know how many people out there actually use it. Does the sound, what's the workaround with the sizzle sound you get when sampling from aux to RCA? So I haven't experienced that. I do sample my turntable through the turntable input, which is a RCA input, and I haven't experienced any of that. So I don't know. But the other thing is, you know, yeah, my X sounds great. It's, there's no real problem with that. Now, the other thing is, this is a bit of a prototype. It's one of the later prototypes. If you having some kind of sizzle problems, you probably should check out what's going on in your studio, or you need to hit up a Kai and, get your machine fixed, because it shouldn't have that problem. That's not a problem that I know of. It's not a problem I've experienced. So let's see. So song mode. Let's go in song mode. For those that don't know, hold on, let me just go back here. This is like the main menu here. This menu has everything you need to get to, sample edit, program edit, list edit, sampler, so forth and so on. If we go into the sampler, here you have it. You can monitor your sound, right? You got your levels and everything. You can tell it what you want to come through. You can put effects on it. I actually have effects off. I'm gonna turn the monitor off. You can do all that, and then once you get that set up, you can hit Shift Sampler. And you go into Looper. I have that set for 4 bars, so it's easy enough to throw your looper stuff in, and then you can export that to a program. So you can move around the thing pretty good. Now, if you're coming from a machine background, you may have a couple of extra steps to do in the MPC Live, MPC X, to like get something to a program. We call them programs. Y'all call them kits, I guess. I don't know. But it's all in the way things work. You can't expect every one thing to be like something else. So I'm gonna go to this program edit, sample edit. What was I about to go? Song mode. All right, so we're gonna go in song mode. This is a song that I've set up. Let's go set up a different one just to kind of show you how that's done. All right, so I'm just gonna insert sequence. All right, so that's just one 4-bar sequence. And you could insert another, insert another, insert another. Then you can actually use a touch screen. That's one thing I really love about this, is the touch screen is really responsive. You can get around with this any way you want. I'm gonna change that to 59, this one to 60, this one to 61. So that's my sequences. And I'm gonna just let this run while you check out what's what. It's easy enough to just run through this whole thing. And if you want to rename it, you come in here, tap it all out, enter. Now that's the name of the song. And let's hit play. It's gonna run from the beginning. So while this plays, I'm gonna just answer a couple questions here. And I'm running out of batteries, so we're gonna be pulling this off in a little bit. But ultimately, no, if you connected a mouse, I don't think you can use a mouse on the MPC screen. But obviously, if it's in controller mode, you could use a mouse and control it from the computer screen. All right. So we're about 19 bars in on this. And there it is. All right, and you can easily export this. go into your audio mix down. And the touchscreen to me is it's probably one of the best things. You can change your sample rate, you can change your bit depth, you can change what kind of file it exports as, WAV, AIFF, MP3. Your start bar being 1, end bar being 20. So this is just a quick song that I did. You could export. I could hit export right now to easily do that. And that's that. So coming back to the main screen. So I guess the biggest thing is, let's see if I can turn this around to show you what I have going on back here. Thanks, Masada. Appreciate it, bro. I'm gonna unplug that and unplug that. And this. So for those that have modular and for those that don't, here's what the whole big deal is with modular here. Yeah, it's a real slim joint. It's wide body, but it's slim. So on the back here, you got your 2 inputs. You got your input 3 and 4, left and right. You got your, left and right RCA. You can flip this from phono to line. Then you got your outputs. 1 and 2 are the main, that's left and right. And then you got, all the way up to 8. You have 6 MIDI connections on the back. That's 4 MIDI out and 2 MIDI in. You got your 8 CV gates. Then you have 2 USB. And if you go and check out a couple of my videos of 5 things about the MPCX, it really gets into a lot of the connection stuff, and a specific video that tells you what you can do with the USB. You can plug hard drives in there. You can plug USB lights in there. You can plug your flash drives. You can connect a keyboard, an actual MIDI keyboard, or you can plug a QWERTY computer keyboard so that you can do that kind of stuff. You got your USB out. The one thing I want to caution about this is that when I first got it, I didn't get the cable with it. It's a USB 3.0. Excuse me, my sinuses is crazy right now. So it's a USB 3.0 cable, and that's what you need in order for this to work. I did not have that, and so it didn't work for me right off the bat. So they had to send me the proper cable. Once I got it, it was all good. And then you have the power. So that's that. Now, these cables that I got here, these are Eurorack patch cables. Now, I have a good deal of these just over there to the side. For priest users, so you heard that modular is best for priest users or preset users. Either way, maybe preset priest users. Anyway, these are Eurorack patch cables. What I do with these fit the connections of the CV outs. I have them long. I think these are 36 inches. Yeah, both those guys. These are 36 inches long because I needed the length on them so that I can connect them to my modular rack. And what I do when I'm not using them, either I disconnect them or I'll just kind of roll them up like this and stick them back there somehow, and it just is what it is. So when I need them, I just kind of pull them from the front. All right. Now, let's go to, as we getting out of here, man, I don't know if this answered any of your questions. It seems like the biggest questions is how does it really sound, or, I think everybody out there that's interested in these things kind of know what they do, right? There's been enough videos out there now that you get to really know what it does. For me, I love the MPCX. I got other samplers and other boxes around here, but this is the centerpiece of my studio, and that's just how I use it. I have a lot of synths. I have, 4 or 5 synths, and then a whole modular rack, a couple drum machines. I can connect so much stuff to this and be able to rock out. And it can take it. That was the reason, I like these big footprint MPCs. So this is no different. And the convenience of the touchscreen with some of the other conveniences on here. There's some things that I wish it had. Yeah, I kind of wish that you could interface with the CV outs along with like plugins, where that typically only interfaces with audio outs. So that's dope. The sample edit screen looks nice. Yeah, sample edit screen. It's dope. You got everything right there that you need, right? You can run through, I mean, so you can go on here, you can go trim. So you can trim that. You can go to another mode that's chop. You can got a few different modes for chopping: manual, threshold, region, BPM. So you can do all of that stuff and make it real easy. And then you can just touch to get rid of slices that you may not want, because I don't want any of those slices. But after showing you that, it sliced up everything. So it's easy enough to kind of move this around. Let's go here. It's easy enough to move this around to get your start points and your end points. Easy enough to hit trash, easy enough to name it. You hit the little keyboard here. You get what you get. You know, you can hit your loop and make it loop. All right. But yeah, that's the MPCX. That's kind of, y'all know what I kind of feel about it. It's the centerpiece of my studio. It sounds good. I love the way it sounds. It's really clean, but not clinical at the same time. But if you drive the input, then you can kind of start to get some almost slight compressed sound. But that's not something that you would expect right off the bat. Like it's clean otherwise. Now, the screen doesn't really lag during editing, man. I haven't really noticed any kind of lagging or anything with the screen. Sometimes if you know, touch something, I mean, pretty much it's really responsive. But I know you were saying about the sample editing. Let's see, let's go to a different sample, something a little longer. Here, double click that, and I can scroll through it to get through stuff a little easier. I can also just use this knob to scroll through. I kind of don't know what some of these samples are, so let's just land on that one. How about it? So we'll just kind of go through and edit this. I could take the pencil and start marking it. And there we go. Zoom in a little bit. Tighten that up. I can use the knobs here. Or I can use the screen to kind of zoom it in pretty good. All right. I'm gonna tighten this one up. Start. Like I said, you can kind of get fine print. So that's an easy way to be able to edit. There was no real lag in there. So that's pretty much it, man. But yeah, I just wanted to jump on here. This is, like I said, going to be the first of tomorrow. I'm going live again. I'll either do the Digitech or the SEO2, but I'll be going live 5 days straight. This is a little series that I'm going to call Bboytech Live Reviews. So this is the MPCX. That's kind of my thoughts on it, man. I got enough videos on the MPCX that you should be able to go through and be able to check some of the other kind of tips and pointers that I've given on it. And I'll make more videos later. Thanks for joining. Appreciate all my people out there. And y'all, peace. Yeah, check this song out while I dismantle this situation. Yo, hold on. Before I go, Shazam, you asked a good question and I meant to cover that. So while I'm running out of battery and before I go, he says, so you only get 8 audio tracks in standalone. What about MIDI tracks? MIDI tracks in standalone, I don't know. I think it's like 99 MIDI tracks. I could be wrong, but it's something way up there like that. 8 audio tracks in standalone, right. But when you're in controller mode, you get a whole lot more than that. What's the number, Masada? Yeah, so 128 MIDI tracks in standalone is the same amount of audio tracks in standalone. Sorry, I can't remember right off. But all tracks are not considered audio tracks. And you have to switch between the two. So right now I'm on MIDI tracks. If you can see where I'm pointing here, there's a little switch at the bottom, a tab. MIDI tracks, audio tracks. So they're two different things. So right now for this, I don't have any audio tracks. And so I can add as many audio tracks as I can't remember what the exact number is, but in controller mode, you get a whole lot more than 8. It could be 128, but don't quote me on that. But in MIDI, that's your regular MPC tracks that, you're going to programs and you're firing off buttons and all this kind of stuff, right? Audio tracks is a separate deal. Here's another point I wanted to make about audio tracks. Audio tracks are not linear. This is not linear recording for audio tracks. The audio tracks are only going to be the length of the sequence that you're recording the audio track into. So if you wanted to record your man playing a bass or your man cutting and scratching on an 8-bar loop, guess what? It's going to get to that 8 bars and that's going to be the end of that audio track. So what a workaround that I typically do for audio tracks to make it more of a linear feel is I'll go to a song, I'll change to an empty song, I'll insert. So now I got a sequence in there and it's only going to do one repeat. Like it's only in there for one time. So this is a 4-bar loop. I'll change that to say, I don't know, something like 20. So now you got 20 times 4. Well, let's just go down to this 20 times 4. So what, 80 bars? And now you can convert that to a sequence. And so this is going to put that 80 bar sequence on sequence 63. Do it. Now when I go there, sequence 63 is set at 80 bars. And now you can record your audio tracks. You can make audio tracks and you got 80 bars worth of sort of linear recording space to go ahead and record in. So that's something to keep in mind. Audio tracks are not linear and they are the length of your sequence dictates how long your audio tracks are. So you're gonna have to give it a little thought. It's a way of working. It's not the way I prefer to work. Maybe one day, there could be some changes, who knows? But at any rate, that's the way it works. That's audio tracks. So, word. Beat People Podcast forever. And appreciate the question, Shazam, because I forgot to cover that. So, yeah, I'm out now, though. Peace.